So there's an interesting news story about the speed cameras that have been installed around Honolulu. Apparently, Honolulu drivers speed so much that they have to push back the warning period by 6 months because, well, we wouldn't break the system. If you haven't heard, back in March, they decided to install some of these speed cameras to catch anybody speeding above 5 miles an hour. Say cheese! And just to introduce the program, they decided to just issue warnings, so no citations. But I guess people don't check their mail. They've estimated that Honolulu has an average of 30,000 citations per week. That's per week, people. And that's only because they've increased the speed threshold from over 5 to now over 11. So imagine if they just kept it at over 5 miles per hour, it would just overwhelm the system. And to put that 30,000 warnings into context, HPD, the Honolulu Police Department, gave out 24 to 26,000 speeding tickets in 2024. That's all of 2024. And leave it up to local people. When they want to break the record, bruh, whew, they really break the record. Imagine 30,000 citations a week. At $250 per citation, that's $30 million a month in just speeding tickets. I mean, that's a lot of beef stew plates right there. And so because local people apparently love to speed so much, the Department of Transportation has decided to push back the start date for this program, not only so that local drivers can get used to this and be introduced to this new system, but also so that their systems can be in place, the courts, judiciary, to process all of these potential citations. I mean, only in Hawaii. This is just one of those things where you both smile and shake your head at. Of course, Hawaii people are going to speed, and they're going to speed in such high numbers that the government has to push back the date because it's just going to be so overwhelming. However, it does bring up a very interesting part of local culture. When is the appropriate time to actually get tough? I know that we don't talk about this much in local culture, except maybe amongst friends. But in a culture like Hawaii's, where everyone seemingly knows everybody, and really you don't want to be that guy or that girl, what happens when it's time to lay down the law, to actually discipline people for doing things they're not supposed to be doing? How does one implement disciplinary action? I mean, we see this with fireworks, we see this with chicken fights, we see this with gambling rooms. We know we're not supposed to be doing these things, yet we continue to do them. Some local people are so used to doing these things that when they're told no and they're penalized for it, they push back. Why you gotta act? By the way, act is with a CK, not a T, it's act. Why you gotta act like that? Bruh, everybody stay doing it, even the cops. You know what better things for do? Like fix the roads, all bus up. And I think this is one of the trickiest parts of navigating local culture here in Hawaii because we're so laid back, generally speaking, and we often let things go. But like any good parent could tell you, eventually, you cannot just be your kid's friend. You do have to lay down the law, be firm, have some discipline. Back in small kid time, I knew that things got serious when my parents got out the bamboo back scratcher. Then we knew because we don't get sore hand or sore butt. And at that moment, I had to stop doing what I was doing. No more warnings. Because not everyone's gonna play nice. Not everybody's gonna listen after one warning. Some people are gonna take advantage of that and continue to do that behavior. Now, before you think that I'm holier than thou, let me just share how I used to drive when I was younger. I got my license here back in high school, and I was a speeder. I mean, I didn't drive too reckless, but I'd go pretty fast. I mean, I was that guy going down Like at least 65 miles per hour. I'd like to think that I was a smart driver, but definitely unsafe. But see, that all changed one night when I got caught by a cop. So I got caught by Wilson Tunnel on the way from town going into Kaneohe. It was at nighttime, I was just trying to get home, and yeah, I was going a little bit fast. I didn't see the cop car because the cop car was actually on the other side of the road, right out of Wilson Tunnel, going back into town. And so I must have been driving fast enough where the cop saw me, and he actually went on the other side to go and try to chase me down. And if you know anything about Wilson Tunnel, the light's not really that great. So as I'm going down the tunnel towards Kaneohe, I see this car behind me, but I couldn't tell it was a cop car because the lights are kind of like staggered. And so if you're looking in the back, you can't really tell what kind of car is behind you except maybe the color. And the thing about this car was, it was going pretty fast to try and catch me. But the thing was, it didn't pass me. It was just staying behind me. Not too close, but at a distance where I thought that was kind of weird. Like, why would you hang out like maybe 4 or 5 car lengths behind me? Like, just pass. It was only after I got out of the tunnel that I could see that it was a police car. Lights weren't on yet, but I could tell, oh man. And at that moment, I'm trying to like slow down, but it's pretty much too late. And so I'm cruising down, like going down towards Kaneohe. The cop is cruising behind me, and I'm like, oh bro, just waiting for the lights to turn on. Then when we get to the bottom of like, boom, the lights are on, and I pull over off to the side. And man, I am stressed. I'm sweating bullets, as they say. And that ticket was expensive, which I ended up paying. But fortunately, it didn't go on my record because it was my first time. But ever since that night, I said, okay, done. Not worth it anymore. So I'm one of those drivers now that drives slow, which means that I drive the speed limit. Hey, but no worry to those speeders out there. I drive on the right side, so no worry, you can go around me. Now, just some personal thoughts on this speeding program. I think it's actually a good thing. I think the 5 miles or over limit, it might be a little strict. Definitely the 11 plus, I'd support that. I mean, that's going pretty fast through an intersection. But at some point, we're gonna have to give out real tickets in this program. I know local people are gonna get mad, right? They don't wanna pay tickets, they're gonna get all fussy, they wanna keep doing what they're doing. But speeding 11 over in an intersection is very different than speeding on the highway, right? Because when you enter an intersection, there's so many things going on that are different than when you're just sort of on the open road. You got pedestrians, you have sudden stops, you have other cars that are trying to go and they're gonna cross your path, and they're coming from zero. They're coming from a standstill, and then they have to accelerate. So I think things are very different when you compare speeding in an intersection versus speeding just, you know, on the freeway. Now, I'm not saying that speeding on the freeway is okay, but it's a very different thing. But the state can't keep pushing this back. Eventually, the bamboo stick or the rubber slipper is gonna have to come out, because that's the only way you're gonna deter people from continuing to speed. However, let me just make a little prediction here. My prediction is that this program is not going to last 1 year. It's gonna be canceled, because there's just no way that collectively local people are gonna be able to change. And there's no way that they're gonna put up with these tickets, even once they start sending out the real $250 tickets. Because even if the purpose of this program is to reduce speeding, to increase safety, especially amongst pedestrians and other vehicles, nope, people are not gonna like that. Or better yet, all they're gonna do is put those things on front of their license plate so that you cannot see what license plate it is. Because let's not forget our history here. Because back in the early 2000s, we actually had a speeding camera program. It was in those little vans parked on the side of the road by the freeway or wherever. And they had these cameras and the computer, and they would just tag your car if you were going fast. Tickets were handed out and people were not happy. So what did the governor do? He axed the program because the public hated those things. They would throw things at the car, make obscene gestures. And I feel bad for those guys that were stuck in that van all day. I mean, it's not their fault people are speeding. And I guarantee in this social media centric society that we're living in, even here in Hawaii, people are just not gonna stand for it. They wanna drive the way that they have always driven. And if the law changes, well then that must be a bad law. So when or if this speeding camera program eventually gets rolled out, I think we as locals should be asking ourselves just one question. What's the rush? Hawaii drivers are generally nice. They let people merge, they don't act too crazy, and of course they give the shaka in the back. But there are some Hawaii drivers out there who are very impatient. I mean, you got these guys that are weaving in and out of traffic, speeding up, braking real hard, tailing other people, and for what? I'm just gonna catch up to them 300, 400 yards away at the next red light. As I've gotten older, I just try to drive safe. No need to teach people lessons. You don't have to be a selfish driver. Let people merge if they're trying to get in. And most importantly, no need rush. Because unless you gotta use the bathroom or something like that, what are you gonna do with those extra 2 to 3 minutes? Most people, they're just gonna go and start scrolling on their phone anyway. I know it's hard to break habits, especially bad habits, but I think we all can drive a little bit slower. Not too slow, because you gotta go at least a speed limit, but hey, no need to rush. The goal of driving is not how fast can I get somewhere, but actually, how can everyone get to where they have to go safely? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and aloha.
Hello.